We will be discussing the Sensory Processing Measure, or SPM. This standardized assessment uses questionnaire forms to provide a thorough perspective on sensory processing issues, praxis, and social participation for school-aged children, primarily ages 5 to 12 years old. There are 3 forms that are used within this assessment: the home form, main classroom form, and school environment form. This assessment takes between 15 and 20 minutes to administer and 5 to 10 minutes for scoring.
When setting up this assessment, the examiner should have the respondent complete the forms in a quiet, well-lit, and distraction-free room. They should use a hard-tipped writing utensil, such as a pen, when filling out the questions. The examiner should then explain to each respondent the purpose of the sensory processing measure and what they hope to learn about the child.
The home care form is completed by a parent or home-based care provider for the child. The form includes 75 items and looks at how the child responds to sensory input within the home environment, such as hearing, touch, and body awareness. Once the form is completed, make sure each item has a response. If there is a missing response, return the form to the parent or caregiver and ask them to complete those items.
This is the main classroom form. This is to be completed by the primary classroom teacher or teacher assistant, specifically someone who has observed the child in the classroom for at least 1 month. This includes 62 items and looks at how the child's behavior is impacted by sensory input within the classroom environment. The images above are the specific questions that the teacher is to fill out based on what they have observed.
The last form is the school environment form. This is used in conjunction with the main classroom form to look at how sensory input is impacting the child's behavior within different school environments. This form includes 10 to 15 items for each environment and is to be filled out by another school personnel or teacher that has observed the child in a specific environment daily for at least 1 month. The forms are filled out as needed, and these environments include art, music, and physical education class, recess and playground time, the cafeteria, and being on the school bus.
This is the score sheet for the home form. Calculate the raw score for each section that is on the scoring sheet. You calculate the raw score by summing the circled values in that section. Then you would calculate the top raw score by summing the raw scores for all 8 sections and put that value in the labeled box. You would then transfer the taught and 8 sections raw scores to the profile sheet. For each raw score, find the value in the norm chart column to determine the percentile that the child falls into. This is an example of a home form that has been scored. As you can see on the left, each of the sections has a calculated raw score. In pink highlight is the taught score that has been calculated, which is all 8 sections combined. In the image on the right, in pink highlight, is where each of the raw scores is placed. Those values are then compared to the norm chart and are circled. The main classroom form has the same scoring procedures as the home form, which we just explained. The images above are examples of blank scoring sheets for the main classroom form.
This is an example of the art class rating sheet. When scoring this school environment form, you would sum the item scores to obtain the total score for that environment. Transfer each total score to the main classroom profile sheet. We highlighted here where you would score. Then compare score to the cutoff value and check the box if the score is greater than or equal to the cutoff value. The SPM manual completed multiple studies that measured the psychometric properties of this assessment, including measuring responsiveness, reliability, and validity. These were the results that they found. The ideal results for behavior rating scales is reliability with alphas of 0.8 or greater, with a score of 0.7 or greater being acceptable. The SPM scale scores were very highly correlated across the 2-week retest interval. The SPM's content validity is enhanced due to the ESP and SASI being utilized to create this assessment.
The study that we found investigated whether children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD, are at a greater risk than children without ADHD for problems with sensory processing. The sample included 20 children with ADHD and 27 children without ADHD. All were between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. The sensory processing measure home form was used to assess the sample. The researchers found that the children with ADHD exhibited more sensory processing problems on all scales of the SPM compared to children without ADHD. Specifically, social participation in planning and ideas subtests of the SPM were significantly associated with hyperactivity/impulsivity. The researchers recommended that when children are evaluated for ADHD, a sensory processing measure should be included as part of the assessment. The sensory processing measure is culturally inclusive. The samples that were used to develop norm values included a wide range of demographic characteristics. The table on the right shows the demographic characteristics of one of the larger samples that was used to standardize the SPM. As you can see, there was equal representation of both genders, a wide variety of ages, representation of races other than white, and different regions across the U.S. were looked at. These are our references, and thank you for watching.